and welcome to the Lighthouse Addiction Topic Show on Facebook Live every week at 3 p.m. I'm Amber and your host for today. Please feel free at any time to ask questions or give us a shout out in the comment section at the bottom of the screen while we are live. We will gladly do our best at answering our questions and saying hi. Also, please feel free to like and share our video on our Facebook page at Lighthouse Treatment Center. Sharing this video could really help someone who is struggling with drugs or alcohol. Our topic today is relapse. Here today we have Gloria, an employee at Lighthouse Treatment Center. So, Gloria, how long have you been with the company?
I've been with Lighthouse for a little over 2 years.
Awesome. What is your position here?
I am one of the counselors in men's treatment.
Cool. How is your sobriety, how much sobriety do you have and how have you accomplished this?
I recently celebrated 10 years of sobriety. Thank you. It's been an interesting journey. I mean, it was one of those things where my life had pretty much completely fallen apart. And I didn't like who I was or how life was. So I actually knew someone that was in the program of AA, and she was the first person that I called, and she was there for me. So for the most part, I just decided that I needed to do whatever was suggested. You know, anything was better than what I was doing. Right. So whatever suggestions, this woman had, I was just willing to follow.
Yeah.
So complete desperation.
Surrendering.
Amen. Yes, definitely.
Cool. Why have you decided to work in the field of addiction?
Well, I felt like, I was always considering doing something therapy-wise, therapist-wise. But of course, having the past that I have, legal issues and things like that, I don't know that I'd actually get licensed. So I decided to kind of look into this, because I've always wanted to be able to talk to people and help them out, and I get a great opportunity to, help others, not, just in talking to them and making them feel comfortable, but, and helping them better themselves and find a different way of living. So,
yeah, it's helping them along their journey.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go into the topic of relapse. What sparks a relapse?
So many things. One of the main things that I talk to the guys about is that they really have to keep an eye out for, things that triggered them in the past, like what was going on with them. If their life was full of a lot of stress or financial worries or conflict in the home and things like that, they're going to have to make sure that they look out for that in the future. But also, things that could be a stress in the future, like think about situations they may end up in and what can they do to kind of protect themselves. I tell them they have a sobriety bubble and they need to build that up, and so the stronger they build that up and the bigger that sobriety bubble is, it gives them more time to react to possible triggers, because that's really what I feel, can attack us, at our moments that we're weak. Right. And that's where relapse can definitely happen.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Don't pop that bubble.
Yeah. Keep that bubble strong.
How will someone trying to stay sober prevent relapse and handle challenges in the future?
Well, I think one of the main ingredients is, working a good, strong program, making friends in the program, but also being honest with how they're feeling at any time. I know a lot of times I hear guys say that, this was coming up and, I realize now that I didn't say anything to anybody. Yeah. And it's really important, to be honest with how you're feeling. And I think if they can go to a meeting and talk about where they're at and what's going on with them, they'll find that others are there to support them. So it's a we program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harboring things can really take us out.
Yeah.
Kind of sad. What are some identifying factors of relapse mode?
Old behaviors, not being kind to others, those kind of things start to creep in, whether it be sneakiness, lying, hiding things, lying by omission is
Yeah.
still, dishonesty. I think those are some of the main things that kind of branch into, crime and things like that people are willing to do when they're suffering from
Yeah.
addiction.
So running an honest program.
Definitely.
100%.
Yes.
Got it. What suggestions would you give to someone who is trying to decide with identifying if they are experiencing a setback or full-blown relapse?
I think that boils down to what's the difference between a setback and a relapse. Sometimes we can get back into our addiction, more of I guess I would say more of a way of thinking. We get back into that old thinking, the stinking thinking, and I think in a lot of ways that puts us just as much at danger as actually, taking that pill or, smoking on that pipe or, having a drink. So I think really it boils down to what is it you're feeling. If you're feeling, that emptiness, if you're feeling like something's missing, whether you've actually taken the drink or not, there's always things that you can do to kind of put yourself back on track.
Yeah.
Either way, it can be, really hard on a person, even if they haven't quite yet taken that drink, but their thoughts are so focused on really wanting one. Sometimes just the wanting one, but knowing they don't want one, that's really hard for some people to go through. So either way, you can definitely pick yourself up and, get back on track.
Yeah, it's like a battlefield in your mind.
It is.
Oh.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. How important is it to have a sponsor?
Extremely important. That is my 100%. With working with clients, I'm always encouraging them. One of the best things you can do is get busy right away by getting yourself a sponsor and start working the steps. Find somebody that, you like what they have to say and they carry themselves the way you think is a good way to carry yourself. Get busy, get busy. I did that and it worked for me. I've had clients that have come in and kind of drug their feet at getting a sponsor. Yeah. I had one guy that was at Lighthouse for quite a while, and he didn't quite listen to me the first couple of weeks, and then he got himself a sponsor and found out that by doing that, he really felt like he was accomplishing something in his program. And, low self-esteem runs rampant in, people that are struggling with addiction.
Right.
So starting to feel like you're, that sense of accomplishment helps build up that self-esteem and build up how they feel about themselves. So I think getting a sponsor is really important because it is pretty much the key that turns the car on to get that thing moving. Yeah. Yeah.
And they're a helping hand along the way.
Yeah, and you have somebody that in those moments that you feel weak, you can, hey, and through your sponsor, you're going to meet other people that are there to help support you as well. It is a community, a brotherhood, and that's important.
Trusting and safe environment, yeah.
I know when I was out there in my addiction, I felt completely alone. And, I had to bear the weight completely. So in getting a sponsor, I felt like, okay, well, at least I can, dump a little that's off, and find some solution in working the steps.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. What are some ways you can help a person realize it is still possible for them to stay sober?
That's interesting. Some ways for them to realize that it is possible to stay sober. I think if anyone's really had the opportunity to have some sobriety, if they were to stop and look at how they felt inside about themselves and about how their life is, I think they would find that just that little bit of sobriety a lot of times is that bright spot, whereas opposed to suffering from our addiction, we suffer.
In miserable places.
So I think, so I really do think that, if they're able to remember that little bit of,
light and strength.
I felt so much, things seemed so much easier when I was sober. I think that can help draw them back to sobriety and will help remind them, look, let me stick with this. Things are a little bit better today, if they're early in sobriety than they were, say, a week or two ago.
Yeah, definitely. Why is it important to work the 12 steps?
The 12 steps are suggested as a program of recovery. And I personally think that anyone can work the 12 steps whether they're in recovery or not. You know, as they say, it's a design for living.
Mm-hmm.
I think in working the 12 steps, it helps move us through learning, you know, how it's through, basically it just takes you through a learning process to where you begin to grow, you begin to, you know, look at things in a different perspective, and then help clean up the wreckage that we've created.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're going to take a little break, and I'm just going to read off some comments. Some people have commented. So, hi, Joe. She says, we're looking good.
Thanks.
And she also has a question. What are relapse triggers and warning signs?
Triggers, you know, like I was saying, triggers are some of the things that can add to, you know, your stress in life. Relapse warning signs, we're talking about, you know, looking for, like I said, some of the old behaviors. What are some of the things that, you know, because I know the way I acted when I was drinking and using. I know exactly how I acted, you know. And when I start to see those old behaviors kind of creep up, or even, you know, like my inner frustration, my irritability, when I start feeling that, I realize, okay, I should really watch out. What is it I can do to kind of distract myself or get into, you know, different frame of mind? Yeah, let me go help somebody out instead of being so selfish and, you know, icky about how I feel about everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Joe. Thank you. Let's see. What are some activities that someone in relapse mode could do in order to take their mind off relapsing?
I always suggest that people, you know, if there's anything you've ever wanted to do, whether it was play a musical instrument, parachute, you know, if they used to draw, if they used to paint, if they used to write, you know, get back into starting to do those kind of things. Try some new things, you know, get a hobby, you know, and then of course with going to meetings and, you know, get a commitment. You know, if you don't have a whole lot of sobriety, they'll let you help clean up, they'll let you set up chairs, they'll let you, you know, hang out and do things like that, you know, sweep up, it doesn't matter, but staying involved and active is really, really helpful.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. So, in your opinion, why is it important to get in the middle of AA? Or why is it suggested to?
I was told the same thing, gotta get in the middle, stay in the middle of the pack, otherwise you'll get picked off. And really I think that is, you know, speaks to those that get active in the program, like I said, getting a commitment, saying hi to somebody. I mean, if you've got a week of sobriety and you see some poor person come into a meeting and they're just having a rough go of it, you can, you know, give something back to them.
Yeah.
And that's keeping yourself busy in a program that's going to help you grow as well.
Yeah.
And it gets us out of that selfish, self-centeredness that we are so good at.
The root of our troubles,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's one of those things where, you know, if you're in the middle of things, you're active. And of course, too, you're spending more of your time thinking about sobriety. Mm-hmm. You're spending more time being sober. Anyone who's in a meeting, that's an hour to an hour and a half of them not having the opportunity to drink or use.
Yeah. Or be in your head.
Or be in your head and worry. Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
All right, well, let's see. Shout out to Nancy. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
She says we're both awesome.
That's because Nancy is awesome.
I agree. Well, thank you, Gloria, for joining us today and sharing your story. It was really an inspiration. And thank you to all the viewers for tuning in for our show today. Please stay tuned for next week. Bye.
Hi, guys.